Military whistleblower claims U.S. has a UFO retrieval program. What's going on, guys? My name's Alex, and I've been studying the extraterrestrial UFO phenomena for 4 years now. I've read hundreds of materials, whether that be websites, books, interviews. I've watched plenty of interviews from whistleblowers that have been called to Congress to talk. I've talked personally to whistleblowers. I've studied Nikolai Tesla's proteges, his people that surrounded him when he was alive and then passed on information. I've spent, honestly, more time than I can count on this subject, so now I think is a good time to start talking about this and sharing this information with you. So today we're going to go ahead and watch a News Nation uh, interview slash news article today, and yeah, let's get started.
Bombshell claims from a military whistleblower. UFO wreckage recovered by the U.S. kept classified by a secret government program for decades. Tonight, a world television exclusive you will only see on News Nation. Welcome to Elizabeth Vargas Reports, earning your trust every night. UFOs exist. The U.S. government found quite a number of them, and they are indeed of non-human origin. Those are the explosive allegations from a former intelligence officer tonight in a whistleblower complaint that the Inspector General is taking very seriously. 36-year-old Air Force veteran David Grush is exposing what he calls a top-secret military program that has reportedly found wreckage of fully intact UFOs. The government now calls them UAPs, or unidentified anomalous phenomena. For years, there have been whispers and rumors that the government had aircraft of non-human origin. This report is the first evidence it might be true. The Inspector General has called
That's not really true. The people have been whistleblowing, since the late 90s, 80s. You guys might have heard of Bob Lazar. He came out in like the 80s, so that's not necessarily true. However, it's a great grounds to get disclosure about this information out there, and yeah, that's just it's good stuff. So.
Rush's complaint urgent and credible. Tonight, we have a world television exclusive interview with the whistleblower in which he claims we not only have.
So those are the craft that's actually spotted here is most likely the TR-3B, which is a craft that the government has. I believe it's developed by Lockheed Martin. That's like an anti-gravity craft that they've had for a while now. And a lot of the times, the craft that we see here aren't UFO or aren't extraterrestrial in origin. They're actually our craft. Well, the United States craft, basically government contractor craft. So yeah, it's kind of hard to differentiate between the two. However, we do see extraterrestrial craft. It's just not as common as what people think.
The aircraft, but the government has been keeping much of its secret from Congress and from the public. News Nation senior national correspondent Brian Enton is here with the story, and this is a blockbuster.
It is a blockbuster. It's really hard to wrap your mind around this. I've been working on this for the past couple of weeks. I'm still having a hard time processing all of it. All over the last couple of years, it sort of became mainstream to discuss UFOs. The government has released videos. They've acknowledged that we don't know what some of this stuff is out there that we have on camera, but this really takes it all to another level. For the very first time, the world is about to hear from a former high-level U.S. intelligence officer who says the government has some of the unidentified craft in its possession. He is revealing these exclusive details about the secret government program.
We're going against the wind. The wind's 120 knots from the west. Oh my gosh, dude. Wow.
We have all seen these blurry videos of unidentified flying objects. Video evidence, if you will, that old tales of UFOs may not all be conspiracy theories.
So that footage is actually called the Nimitz incident. I believe that happened in 2004, and they recently that's the acknowledgement that they had with that film within the past few years. So they're just now kind of acknowledging the existence of this, and that was actually a groundbreaking video that was released to the public. So if you guys want to look that up, get on DuckDuckGo, which is a search engine that's not related to Google. Google hides a lot of this stuff. Google knows all about this. They're the largest search engine in the world, obviously. So a lot of the stuff, if you try to look this up, you won't it won't bring up to the first page or even the first few pages. So you have to use like a search engine that's not totally, I guess corrupt, or I'm not too sure what to explain about that, but just use DuckDuckGo and see if your results are different. I encourage you to try it. Get a Google Doc, Google page up, type in U.S. Nimitz incident UFO, and it will come up. Probably this one particularly, it will come up on Google, but the more niche information, it's a little bit harder to find on sources like Google, so you have to use search engines like DuckDuckGo.
Recent years, Congress starting an official U.S. government unidentified aerial phenomena task force, recently renamed the All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, or AARO. And now in a News Nation exclusive, David Grush, an Air Force veteran, former member of that task force, and veteran of the National Geospatial Intelligence Agency, is formally blowing the whistle on secrets he says no one has ever shared publicly before.
You are one of the most trusted former intelligence officials in the U.S. defense and intelligence establishment.
Yes, I was.
You were trusted with the most intimate secrets.
Yes.
Grush sitting down with award-winning investigative journalist Ross Coulthart, who's reporting for News Nation and has spent years reporting on the UFO question.
What conclusion did you come to at the end of your time on the UAP task force?
The UAP task force was refused access to a broad crash retrieval program.
When you say crash retrieval, what do you mean?
These are retrieving non-human origin technical vehicles, call it spacecraft if you will, non-human, exotic origin vehicles that have either landed or crashed.
We have spacecraft from another species.
We do, yeah.
How many?
Quite a number.
You're kidding.
No. I thought it was totally nuts, and I thought at first I was being deceived. It was a ruse. People started confiding in me. They approached me. I have plenty of current and former senior intelligence officers that came to me, many of which I knew almost my whole career, that confided in me they were a part of a program. They named the program. I've never heard of it. And they told me, based on their oral testimony, and they provided me documents and other proof, that there was, in fact, a program that the UAP task force was not read into.
So the reason that it's not read into is generally for reasons of national security. Just think, you might work at a job, or let's just, for example, let's just say you work at Walmart. Let's just say, okay? So let's say you are a stock person, okay? You stock the shelves. All right, you don't know the finances of Walmart. You're not in charge of scheduling the people, right? You're not in charge of managing the people. You're not in charge of the logistics with the trucks, okay? Those are different compartments within the same organization. The United States government has very much similar things going on. The CIA, NSA, all these three-letter agencies, they all have their own compartments, and that is all intertwined with military contractors such as Lockheed Martin, people like that, or organizations like that. So basically, they bar each other from knowing not one single organization has a macro bird's eye view of what's going on and all the inner workings. Each one has to communicate with each other basically covertly to share information and kind of like find out what's going on a larger scale. A lot of the people in the military don't know what's going on either because of this reason. It's very much compartmentalized and very much hidden behind reasons of national security. So that's just kind of how it's been kept a secret so well within the past years, because there's not really one organization that really knows. And these new organizations that have been developed in Congress, they don't get access either because they've just been, it's above top secret. This is reasons of national security. If they would let this go out, and the wrong people, or they use that as an excuse to not show the citizens, that the taxpayers that you're paying for them to do this type of work for. And that's where I have a big problem with that, because everybody pays taxes. This is where your tax money goes to.
Grush alleges the U.S. government has recovered non-human craft for decades. He's filed a whistleblower complaint saying he gave what he calls the classified proof to Congress and the intelligence community inspector general. News Nation has confirmed David Grush's credentials and resume. We've not seen or verified the alleged proof he says he's provided to investigators. He says he can't show us the proof for national security reasons. He also tells us he's not seen photos of the alleged craft himself, but has talked extensively with other intelligence officials who have.
Okay, so if you guys actually want to do some research on this, one of the main whistleblowers that actually was involved in crash retrievals all the way back in during Vietnam era, his name is Sergeant Clifford Stone, okay? Sergeant Clifford Stone. Go look him up on YouTube, use DuckDuckGo, do whatever you need to do. He was known as an empath, so he could telepathically communicate very much easier than a lot of other folks. So what would happen is crashes will always happen. That's just the way, sorry to break it to you, that's what happens, okay? Just because they're extraterrestrials don't mean they don't make mistakes. Things happen, they crash, yada, 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 right? So what do? We send covert black ops to these craft to retrieve any beings or the spacecraft themselves, all in the purpose of reverse engineering and helping the extraterrestrials. Sometimes they can't leave their craft because the craft are actually bound with them on an energetic level. So if they're actually separated from the craft, they would die. And Sergeant Clifford Stone goes into all this. He's able to communicate. The main language in the universe is not through the way I'm speaking to you now. It's actually through telepathy. So more like a knowingness. When I speak to you, I have to convert what's in my brain through my auditory system, or through my mouth and the vibrations of my voice box to make that a reality, and so you can understand it. But telepathy is you automatically know what that other person's saying and what they mean by it, and it can't be misunderstood because you understand the meaning behind it. It's a much more efficient way to communicate, and all humans are capable of it. We've just been led to believe that we are not. So that's just kind of a little bit about that. Sergeant Clifford Stone goes way more deeper into all this stuff. Another good one is Emery Smith. I'm not going to make this video too long for you guys and bore you, but look those two people up. Emery Smith, Sergeant Clifford Stone.
If you're right, if you're telling us the truth, everyone, the entire American public, has been lied to for decades.
Yeah, there's a sophisticated disinformation campaign targeting the U.S. populace, which is extremely unethical and immoral.
You are saying to the human race, for the first time, an official intelligence representative at a high level from the US government is saying publicly, we are not alone.
We're definitely not alone. Absolutely,
never were.
the data points empirically that we're not alone, yeah.
Do we have bodies? Do we have species of
Yes.
Well,
non-human?
naturally, when you recover something that's either landed or crashed, sometimes you encounter dead pilots. And believe it or not, as fantastical as that sounds, it's true.
It's also harder for people to wrap their minds around the concept of a crashed object from somewhere else. It's easier to accept that, yeah, we see things in the sky that we can't explain.
Journalist Leslie Kane broke Rush's whistleblower story this morning in the debrief. Ms. Kane's career has been mainstream and credible, having written a series of reports on UFOs in the New York Times dating back to 2017. He has the credentials, but there's no documents that he's handed over. There's no pictures. And as a journalist, you want to see documents, you want to see pictures. Does that raise a red flag?
Not at all, Brian. I mean, you mean documents that actually describe the craft?
Correct, yeah, like government documents, or to be able to see it for ourselves.
Can't because of national security.
Of course, don't we all want that? And the problem with that is all of that information is classified. You know, as we said in the story, everything that Grush told Congress and told the Inspector General of both the IC, the Intelligence Community Inspector General, and the Department of Defense Inspector General, all of that information is classified.
In 2017, Kane reported exclusively in the New York Times that the Pentagon had a secret UFO program. 3 years later, the Pentagon confirmed her story. Her latest report is even more explosive, but Kane says she has multiple sources who back up Grush's story.
I believe it because of all the sources I have who have told me the same thing. So who am I to doubt these very, very high-level people who have been inside these programs for decades, have done their work, and are all telling me the same thing? I mean, I don't think there's some kind of conspiracy among all these people who don't know each other to make something like this up.
So I've got to be blunt about this.
You guys want to see a real conspiracy? Flat Earth. All right, that is a very much real conspiracy. In my opinion, it's a psyop created by the United States government to throw off people. We will get into why that is in later videos. There's a concept called Agartha, inner Earth. Basically, the Earth is honeycomb. It's not. You know, you have your mantle and core and things like that, which is true, but it's not as set in stone, I guess, marbleized as you would want to believe. It has intricate caverns that are developed through the shifting of the plates and whatnot. So large caverns, miles and miles wide, are hidden within the Earth. We'll get into that in later videos, but that is one of the reasons why flat Earth is actually a thing, because it's a psyop to throw off the people that you don't know what to believe, you know, because it's so misconstrued, and that's why people are confused.
This. You're not making this up. This is not a lie.
No, absolutely not.
Because everybody watching this right now is looking at your face. They're going, is this guy for real?
I am for real. And I'm sitting here at great personal risk and obvious professional risk by talking to you today.
And just within the last 10 minutes or so, the Pentagon has released a statement to News Nation about this report. They say to date, AARO has not discovered any verifiable information to substantiate claims that any programs regarding the possession or reverse engineering of extraterrestrial materials have existed in the past or exist currently. AARO is committed to following the data and its investigation wherever it leads. AARO, working with the Office of the General Counsel and the Air Force Office of Special Investigations, has established a safe and secure process for individuals to come forward with information to aid AARO in its congressionally mandated historical review. AARO's historical review of records and testimonies is ongoing and due to Congress by June 2024, and AARO welcomes the opportunity to speak with any former or current employee or contractor who believes they have information relevant to this historical review. And Elizabeth, we know that David Grush, he's filed that whistleblower complaint. He's been on the record under oath testifying to many of these things that he said in our report tonight.
Right, and it's important to point out that this statement from the Pentagon, from AARO, Grush is alleging that this top secret program is keeping it a secret from AARO. So.
Yeah, exactly. And if Grush is, what he's saying is true, you know, the spokespeople, all of those folks at that level wouldn't even know this was going on anyway.
All right, I got to ask you, you know, he has a compelling story to tell. Very little of it seems like firsthand knowledge. Isn't he just repeating what somebody else has told him or somebody else has showed him?
Yes, that is what he's doing, but he says he's talked to a number of people who are in very, very high.
These photos are actually taken by Jeremy Corbell. He is a ufologist, I would say. He worked with Bob Lazar to make his documentary, the most recent one that Bob Lazar made. That is on, I believe it was on Netflix and Hulu, but I'm not too sure. You'd have to look that up for yourself. So yeah, that's a good one that he basically collaborates with Bob Lazar to kind of make that make that documentary.
Level positions. He also had basically the highest level of classified material information that he was able to receive. We went back and checked over, you know, his history, all of his credentials. Check out completely. Unfortunately, there's
in addition, a couple people have come forward publicly to vouch for him. People who are high-ranking.
They have, and this article first came out this morning, and I think it's interesting that, you know, there hasn't been any sort of effort to discredit what he has said either from the Defense Department.
So interesting. So what happens, you know, and have we had any reaction, by the way, from members of Congress who have been taking this seriously in the last couple of years? We've seen congressional hearings. We've seen NASA's hearing just about a week ago on UFOs or UAPs, whatever you prefer to call them. We've seen the DNI give a briefing to the White House on this. We've been hearing whispers and rumors for years. I remember even former President Trump, when he was in office, sort of saying, oh my gosh, if you knew what I knew about UFOs.
Yeah.
You don't know shit about UFOs. Come on now. All right, so with that, guys, I encourage you to watch this video for yourself. I'm going to go ahead and cut it off right here. If you guys do like this content, make sure to like, subscribe, and comment. Just, is this guy a fake? Is this a hoax? If you have any questions regarding the UFO phenomena or any sources I would be happy to answer any questions that you do have. I'll be responding to all the comments. I'll be reading them as well. So just go ahead and drop a comment, like, and subscribe. It would really help the channel. And yeah, with that, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.